Book title: Business in the Ghetto by Mukuv. Chapter list. 1. Introduction. 2. Ghetto definition. 3. Understanding the ghetto business strategy. 4. Challenges. 5. Scaling the business. 6. Why is business always difficult? 7. Managing business. 8. How long the business run before you give up? 9. Why business in ghetto does not grow? 10. Why people become a slave for money? 11. Protecting your business. Introduction. In the ghetto neighborhoods often overlooked by formal investors, there is a unique entrepreneurial spirit that thrives. This book consists of the genesis of making, keeping, managing, and scaling your business in ghetto special real estate. Most people only know academic education, but there are 5 different types of education in real life. Now let's look at those educations. There is academic education, financial education, personal education, marketplace education, and religious or spiritual education. For you to succeed in business, you should master financial education. Chapter 1. What is ghetto? In Africa, there are classes of standards for living in urban areas in every town or city. There is a class of rich people who acquire good land for living and even gardening, mostly in town. Most of this place is a very quiet place. You can see people jogging with their dog either in the morning or in the evening. Is there any suspicious movement in this area? Intruders are regarded as thieves. This area is protected from diseases by living in a space at least 200 to 400 meters away. Followed by suburbanization, this area was mostly found far away from town, and the majority of people were employed by the government, mostly in lower ranks. This person spent 20 years working for the house, which is very small, which is given according to the subsidy he qualifies for. The last group is the ghetto, where the majority of people migrating from the village to look for greener pastures reside. This area is regarded as poor due to a lack of good toilets, roads, and decent houses. Most rich people abuse them by bringing bar to collect money from them. Understanding the ghetto business strategy. The ghetto is regarded as a temporary place where people stay while working to send money home. While they're doing that, people at the village think their life is better than at the village. As the children grow, they're also having dreams of following them to have a good life, and the majority will leave the village to be in town. Most of the land in the ghetto is free, and in some towns even water is free. Life in the ghetto is different because there are more people living in this area than in town. Crime is always high due to the high population coming from the village and prostitution. Smart people use the population to their advantage by solving their problem to make more money. Ghetto places are regarded as poor, but most of the money comes from them because the majority of these people work to buy food, clothes, furniture, and alcohol or entertainment. Smart people always study this group. How do they live, eat, and entertain themselves? And look for the solution for them. The majority of these people desire to live in a good area where there is electricity, a decent house with a toilet, and a Wi-Fi connection. Making money from them is simple. Build for them a simple structure with low cost, with electricity from solar energy, with good running water, and with toilets. Always target the area where there are a lot of warehouses, malls, and constructors. The majority of these people look for temporary structures to live in while working, so charge a reasonable amount to rent your property. Open an account to bank your money to allow you to open another business. Since they commute daily to go to work, buy them a taxi to take to work daily, whether it's in the contract or pay daily. Open a daycare for children in the area equipped with a playground for their children. Chapter 2. Challenge in ghetto. Ghetto area always regarded as temporary place because you are not allowed to own the land although you are having a structure on it, because the land always belong to the government. Don't waste your resources building permanent structural unless the land already surveyed by local authority. It's not easier to get the right tenant in ghetto unless you're living with them. Theft is regarded to be high due high population, so it's always good to create relationship with them to protect your property and business. Price rental property is always low compared to town since who leaving don't earn a lot of money. Registration of business is always a problem since these area is not recognized, especially the one not yet surveyed. Finding investor always a problem since due to security reason. Acquiring a loan in the bank who always be difficult due to security reason. Scaling the business. Business is always like a plant in the garden, always make they should grow together by providing good water and nutrient. Every living things on earth grow, but for it to grow their source of the energy to stimulate the growth. If you want to make money in the business, you learn to scale the business. Ghetto is the only place which is very easier to scale the business due to the population density which very high. If running business for selling food in taxi rank in Ghetto, make sure to open more spot and train your staff to offer good food and service. If you are in the business for taxi, buy more taxi and train your taxi driver. If you are in business of rent room in Ghetto, build cheap and nice room for them where customer need them. When do you know that you are about to scale your business? When the demand for customer to offer your services to higher than what you're offering, make sure to open another branch. Competition in business, there is always a competitor. Make sure every competition should make for you profit to sustain your business, don't impress the customer. Why business always difficult? Doing business is always like swimming in a long river, you either give up to be rescued by the board or go ahead to complete the rise. When we grow up we only knew academic education. We were always taught to get good grade, have degree and look for a high-paying job, right? Without knowing that you trading your time for money and financial freedom will only occur after making a lot of mistake, and good will appear when you're old, when you get your retirement. There are 5 types of education, which is academic, financial, personal, marketplace and religious or spiritual education. What is academic education? This education help to know how to read, write and calculate number. Financial education help you to master how to handle money, and it's a continuous education which need practice daily. Personal education reveal what gift you are giving from God. Gift is always like an alarm, but if don't pay attention to it, going to identify too late when waste a lot of time. We always see people doing academic education taking a course in field after graduating he or she become a famer or a musician. Why? Because they're not aware of their talent at all. Marketplace education, this require knowledge in practical education that always why whenever you have a degree they always need work experiences, because practical knowledge is more valuable than a certificate obtained from any institution of learning. Religion or spiritual education, this education always reveal how you're raised by your parent, which religion do you belong, either you are Christian, Muslim, Buddha or other religious not in the list. Why always difficult to run business is practical subject which not taught at school. For you to master business, make sure to learn financial education when you're still young. Learning financial education when you are still young, it will help you to avoid a lot of mistake with finance. In business you should know how to differentiate between asset and liabilities. Most of people define this term differently, that why they struggle. Financial asset is anything that bring money in the business, while liability is anything that take away money in the business. For the business to grow successful, you should buy more asset continuous for at least 5 to 15 years in the business. That business will never collapse because asset bring money for the rest of life whether you are working or not. Let's look at the key asset we were supposed to buy, which can increase in profit daily or yearly. The first asset on list, land. Land always regarded as prime property because the value change every day. Have ever wonder why some country always having war is because of land, so land is always first investment in the business. Second asset is building. Building comes after you are acquire more land. Owing building will always bring passive money either daily or monthly, and most of people regarded as rich on earth, they mostly own land building. Third asset is livestock. Livestock is regarded real riches in the community and as sign of maturity, because in the community life always depend livestock. Without livestock, there will be no meat exported to be sold in the market. 4 asset gardening or planting fruit and vegetable. Most of fruit and vegetables sold in supermarket are coming from farming. And last asset is business or investment. A business always consists of 500 or more employee, and tax in business always very low because you're offering job to the population and government will reduce the tax and profit is massive. Investment always involve giving money to people who are always doing profitable business and getting your passive income daily or monthly. Chapter 3. Managing business. Managing a business is always difficult because it needs specific skills. If you fail to manage a small business, even a big business will be very difficult to control. What skill do you need to control business? The first skill you need to know is financial education. Financial education shows the health of the business by viewing your cash flow. What is cash flow? This is like your blood in your body. You should have the skill to control cash flow in the business by comparing your expenses and liabilities with the assets. Which means that there should be more money coming into the business than leaving the business, and always monitor the health of the business by checking the cash flow. For you to manage your business, make sure that you own a lot of assets, which will bring money into the business, and spend less money. Make sure to scale your business by opening more branches for the customer. In business, there is always a season for good profit, and there is a season for loss. Make sure that you are always ready to make over in different seasons. Just like in the Bible story of Joseph, there were seasons for plenty and seasons for drought. The solution that they did was to keep the fifth from every harvest in the season for plenty. The food, which was saved for 7 years, was able to feed the entire nation. In business, you should always follow the same strategy. When you have plenty, save more and invest. This will help you when you have a dry season. If you have a dam, make sure to have a pipe that is bringing water somewhere, otherwise, the dam will eventually dry up. Even in the business, make sure you have multiple streams of income to sustain you in the dry season. Most of the resources on earth belong to God, we are just stewards. You must always acknowledge this by giving a 10th percentage of everything you get to partner with to help in business, and make sure another 10th percentage goes to charity to help the less privileged. Make sure 30% or more should be your savings or investment, and 50% you should invest in the business. If you follow the rule, magic will happen, which you are also going to wonder if it really happened to you or not. How long the business run before you give up? Hard work is always the key to success. In business, teamwork is very important. Make sure that you always involve a mentor and attend seminars to gain more knowledge. Don't be in isolation. Meet different people to help you in business, and choose the right people to give advice on your business. Being in business is like someone walking in the wilderness. If you don't have enough food and water, you're going to die. Make sure you have everything you need for the journey before you start. Most people start the business without skill, as their learning business will become more difficult for them. Businesses always take 5 to 10 years before they mature. It's your responsibility to start the foundation so that when they start producing profit, they will be able to give you a salary. Business is like planting a tree. Some trees take a year to produce fruit, and some take 5 to 10 years before you get the fruit. You should be willing to wait for a long time while you are watering the plant. Some trees, when they start producing fruit, no longer need water, so it's time for you to eat fruit and sell it as well. Why business in Ghetto does not grow? The aim of doing business is for it to grow so that you can also help other people by solving their problems. In business, discipline is always the key in everything you are doing. In the Ghetto, most people are doing business only to survive, and profit is not getting time to grow. Whenever you are doing business, you are supposed to have a record of it for other people to be convinced to really support you. For the business to succeed, whether small or big, you should write down everything, the profit you are making and the loss. Make sure that you do not touch the profit for the business throughout. It's always good to look for alternative sources of money for survival to allow your business to grow. If you want to grow your business very fast, invest the profit in assets. The asset allows the business to grow very fast in a few years, and make sure to protect your business by paying taxes that are due to the government. For the bank to recognize our business, you should open an account for the business and start banking the profit to increase the business record. The bank will always recognize your business by looking at your credit record, and this will allow you to take out a loan from the bank to boost your business. Now, to answer the question, Ghetto businesses do business for survival, they always squander their profit, and they don't bank their money. Chapter 4. Why people become a slave for money. Money has 4 characteristics, which are spirit, value, soul, currency, and the body. From the beginning of creation, a human being was given authority and dominion over everything on earth. Since humankind is not always perfect, he disobeys the law of not eating the tree in the middle of the garden, which was not allowed to be eaten. When humankind's sin of labor is stated as one of our curses that is given, you will sweat before you get your meal. This is the beginning of the hunter-gatherer and agricultural ages. The value for money that time was dependent on the skill and gift you have. That time was used as money. If you are good with something other people need, for them to get it, They should exchange it for something you need, which is bartering. When people were busy with bartering, skills were different, and people with good skills became richer than those who did not have as many skills. As people were discovering gold, gold became the new money that everyone used. Since gold was very heavy to carry, people started coming up with the new idea of a promissory note. The bank writes for you a promise according to the gold you own, which is kept in the bank. When the gold was enough to back up the promissory note, people started using currency that was backed up by gold, which we are using today. In 1971, currency was separated from gold. What are characteristic money? We are going to start with the spirit of money, which is mammon. What is mammon, this God behind money and this only God, which is the creator, because everyone today is a slave to money. Value, soul, for money depends on the market forces where mammon is in demand, where people obey the law of mammon. Currency, which is the body of money, moves from different people who need it. That's why money should be used, not kept. Money is a tool to be used, not to be worshipped. Money that is not given work to do will go where it's needed. Lastly, money lives in the body, which is the paper or currency that is printed to be used as money. Why do people become slaves for money? By nature, people were not supposed to work for money, but money was supposed to work for them. Since smart people still use academic education with a syllabus to enslave people to work for money, the purpose of working was to learn and get experience. That's why in the scripture the first thing you should do is do outdoor work, which is go and look for a job, then create a field, which is buying an asset, and at last build a house. Most of the graduates don't follow this order. They start with luxury and work very hard until retirement. Most rich people don't work for money because they buy assets and end up with luxury, which is the order from the scripture. Protecting your business. Protecting your business is always very important because the law will always come for our assets if we don't pay what's due to them. Make sure to pay all the tax to the government, whether it's small or big. Always consider insuring your property with the correct insurance company, and if you want to protect your brand, go for life insurance.